Hi everybody, this is about the Goodness Project and particularly about how you use the beat sequencer to add some drums as part of what we're doing here. Now we're going to add drums to the chorus, and if I just press play,
I will sing of the goodness of God.
now the chorus is going to come in next. Here we go.
And all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good.
So one of the problems that we've got is that due to that 2/4 bar, which unfortunately we can't do anything about in this version of GarageBand, the rhythm or rather the first beat of the chorus, it doesn't start on the first beat of the bar, it starts halfway through the bar. So that's just something we're going to have to deal with. So first of all, I'm going to create this this drum track, and at the bottom left hand corner I've got a cross, so I'll press that and then move along to drums and choose beat sequencer. Okay, now a very simple drum pattern, 4/4 drum pattern, would be with a bass drum on beats 1 and 3 and a snare on beats 2 and 4. Just like that. Now if you think that this style of music doesn't fit this sound that you've got, well, tap on Modern 808 at the bottom of the screen and you can choose acoustic kits in there, and I'm going to choose heavy. It's quite a rock kind of kit, and I'm going to add some hi-hats on the quaver beat. And maybe just one other bass drum. And that's probably all I need to start with. And I can always vary my rhythm later on. So I'm now going to record that in. So I'll just press record at the top. Notice where I'm starting the play line from there.
I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. In every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there because I'm just really working on the chorus at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going to press the brick wall button to see the tracks, and I'm going to go in a little bit deeper. So I pinched left to right to be able to zoom in on that, and now I'm looking for the start of the chorus. So it's at that point there. So at that point, I want my drum kit to come in. So all I do is move the block along. And it's really important because it's quite a, I don't know, gentle start to this song. So I maybe don't want the drum kit to come in straight away, but I want it to come in exactly on the start of this chorus. So let's listen to how that sounds now.
Of the goodness of God.
2, 3, 4.
And all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. In every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Okay, and at that point I'm thinking, right, I want my drums to do something maybe slightly different or a slight variation of that afterwards. So I'm going to click on this and trim the end so it just stops at about that point. Let's just check that.
Of God, I love your voice.
Yeah, so I've done that bit. It's in time. The start and the end fits nicely together. Now, something that you will be familiar to you listening to this style of music is drums often play cymbal crashes on key moments, like say the start of a section, or it could be a key chord change or rhythm or something like that. and they also play fill-ins. So to do that, you can program it using the beat sequencer, but I'm going to use the acoustic drums as appears on the screen. So this is how to do that. Click on the plus again for another new instrument, and now we see acoustic drums, so we'll tap on that. And the most important thing just here is that you can see the word SoCal in the middle of the screen. We're going to change this kit, so it's going to be heavy kit, so it matches the same one as the beat sequencer. Because beat sequencer essentially is the same as this, but it's just a different way of organising, a different view, if you like, depending on how confident you are. So I could, on this kit, I could go... and I could play the rhythm in just like that, just like I was doing before. But sometimes it's easier to use the beat sequencer if you're not used to doing that. So let's change the sound to heavy, so that we get the same sounds as the other kit. Okay, and this time I'm going to listen for where that entry point is, and I'm going to really think about, you know, in that last recording I counted in 1, 2, 3, 4 just before it started. I'm now going to use that 1, 2, 3, 4, thinking about creating a pattern. And it can be any rhythm at all, but it's a fill-in's like something like it just introduces that a new section is going to happen. So let's just record something and then we'll listen back and see if we like it.
Until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been.
So I didn't need to do very much to it. I was just kind of listening to it. I was thinking, right, what might work with this? Let me listen back to that.
Goodness of God.
Now that was pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. I would go on and quantize, but I am going to record again, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I've realised that I've turned the metronome off. So the metronome is the button to the right. You can see I'm switching it on and off there. To the right of the volume control at the top. And that's really, really important to have that click on, because as much as our singers and our guitarists are playing pretty well in time, it's actually, we need to record to the click. That's our kind of absolute tempo that we're listening to. So let me record that again.
I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. In every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Okay, so I added a few bits. Now, while I was recording, you'll have heard that I was playing the drums at the same time as hearing the other drum recording. And all I would do is imagine as I go through which hands I'm using to play those drums if I was sitting at a kit. And it might be that you go and grab a pair of drumsticks and play your fill-ins at the kit to see what it feels like to play. What you'll notice is you can't hit the hi-hat, so the two cymbals together, at the same time as going around the kit on the tom-toms. And that's important, because then to make it more natural and make it realistic, you would delete those bits out of the beat sequenced bit later on, so that it comes across as if it is just one drummer playing it. Anyway, let's keep it as it is for the moment, and I need to think about the rhythm that I was playing there. So if this is the pulse, and that's crotchet beats, and so these are quaver beats. So these are semi-quaver beats. The shortest note of the da-da-da at the end was like when we say lemonade. So they are semi-quavers, and for that reason the quantized value has to be 1/16. So let's quantize that. We'll go to the mix button at the top and go to track settings, quantization, and 1/16. Oh, it already did it for me. Now this is a clever thing that's appeared in a recent update of this version of GarageBand, where it will try and work out what you're doing. It doesn't always get it right, but sometimes it does help like this. So let's listen back to it. I'll need to turn this on.
Goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life.
Okay, and you can hear how that's built up. Now I'm going to add one more acoustic drum kit to add the crashes, and sometimes it's helpful to deal with these separately. Often if I'm doing a mix and I've got in the studio and I've got all many tracks, then I'll have many different tracks for the drum kit, because the sounds behave in slightly different ways. So I want one track for my overheads, so the microphones over the kit. I want one track for say a crash cymbal, where I want it to have a particular characteristic. I want one track for my bass drum, for my snare drum. In this situation we won't do that, but it is still helpful to deal with things separately as you start to build things up. So let's go again to the cross and go to acoustic drums, change it to heavy again, and it can be any kit and it can be any pattern, but it's just important to have the same thing. So now we're looking for crashes in the right and important places, so either on the first beat of the bar, or when you have a chord change is a good place. Let's see what happens.
I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. And every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice.
Okay, so we heard there's quite a lot of crashes in there. I think perhaps in reflection I might listen back and there could be too many. If there are too many at any one point, I can double tap on it and go to edit, and I can choose the ones that I don't want anymore. So let's listen through on this screen just to get an idea.
Goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. And every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God.
So I really like the so good bit to be emphasized. So I'm going to leave those three in that are in that row there. But these three later, it was a little bit of overkill, if you like, to have that same pattern. So I'm just going to hold my finger down the screen, drag over the two that I don't want, and tap on it and go to delete. And then I'll just listen to that again just to check I'm happy with it from the moment that it happened in the first place. Notice as well on this screen I've got two green boxes that have appeared per hit, and that's because you hear the crash cymbal at the same time as the kick drum or the bass drum at the bottom. If you are a drummer and you're playing this, you often make the sound punchier by playing the bass drum at the same time as when you hit the crash cymbal. It just gives you a fuller sound with more presence. So let's listen to this one more time.
I've been so good. And every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Okay, there we go. So what we've done there, we've gone through and we've recorded some drums specifically for the chorus. Now for the later chorus, where there's a lot more going on and there's more energy, it could well be that you want to develop that. So you want to take what you've got and use that as a starting point. So you might do a copy and paste, but then add more elements to it to make it more complex, to build some more energy as you go along. And then I would recommend, if you're programming drums in this way, you work on one section at a time. So then you might move on to the verses, which might be a little bit more laid back. And think about the lyrics in the song, what's going on. Think about how you want it to start, how you want it to end. Because a drum part often you keep the same style in the drum kit part throughout, but actually you're going to then create quite a lot of variation to keep interest in your part as you play along. Certainly if I was playing this song live, and I often do play this live, I don't play the same thing over and over and over again, because it really starts to feel quite repetitive, and we don't want that. Okay, so there we go. That's how to get started with programming the drums for the Goodness project.